What's going on, guys? Me, Matt, here with my brother Ryan. And going into the spring transfer portal, there were a couple positions we were absolutely had to have in order for this team to be successful. One of them was tackle, and one of them was D line, which we'll get into in a separate video. But we did not execute on that. We did not get a single offensive lineman. And we're left with the O line of Elijah Page at left tackle, Pregnon at left guard, Jonah Monheim at center, Eleni Noah at right guard, and Mason Murphy at right tackle. That's I think most people can agree that will be the starting offensive line, but we will see, of course, in fall camp and when the season starts. I don't feel great about that O line. Pregnon's returning, Monheim is returning, but at a separate position, and Eleni Noah played in a couple games last year. So to me, what stands out here is Pregnon and Noah are very strong, incredibly strong, and I think they can be effective going downhill. And O line running backs will always be tied together, so we can talk about the overall run screen. I want USC to run downhill. I don't whatever the hell happened last year. I don't want that. We're lucky Marshawn Lloyd was such an explosive athlete, but as a whole, the O line was just not great last year, and I don't really know where to look at because last year Pregnon wasn't great. Monheim was good, but he was a tackle. Now he's moving to center, and Mason Murphy was not great. So you look at holes here. Murphy is not very good. Jonah Monheim was a tackle. Now he's playing center. And guess what? We don't really have a backup. We don't have an experienced backup center. So if he gets hurt, I don't really know what we're gonna do. Noah and Page are both sophomores who are now going to be starters against the Big Ten, and they're going to be thrown in right against LSU. So there really isn't a lot to be confident about. I suppose, or not suppose, there is potential with Noah and Page, even Pregnon, because Pregnon, as the season went on, he did get better. So if he can be good, that could be huge. But frankly, running wise, I think there is potential to be good because, like I said, Noah and Pregnon are very strong. I think they can, blow some backers up. Protection wise is where I'm super worried. Mason Murphy is going to be he's going to be protecting Moss against Harold Perkins, who is a certified NFL first round pick, and then after that he's going to go through the entire Big Ten and Notre Dame. So to me, lots of questions. How are you feeling about the O line?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't felt good about a USC O line in the Lincoln era. First year was the best we've had by far, and even then, it was a surprise when they held up against physicality, like the Notre Dame game. We were seeing them getting pummeled, but they were getting pummeled and not falling over, so they gave Caleb enough time to kind of escape. And that was the best we've had. Um, yeah, I don't want to be too negative. So what I'll say is this: this is a massive year for Henson because he is not recruiting at all. We can say NIL, sure. I mean, not even sure. Yes, that is a big part of it. But if you're going to miss on every single high caliber offensive lineman in the state and out of state, and then when you get a Jason Zandamello, like the top interior O line in his class, they transfer immediately. Which again, you can say NIL, but at a certain point, we have to look inward and consider what we're doing. But this isn't a recruiting show. The reason I bring up recruiting is people talk about offensive line is like kind of getting your guys and molding them, which is true. Offensive line is the only position where there are fewer, like the percentage of 5-star talents being drafted in the first round is fewer per position compared to like receivers and stuff. But if you're not getting those high end guys for the sake of development or like whatever excuse people give, you need to develop the people you're getting. The kids you get, you recruit, you tell them they're going to play. We're going to have at least two of his high school recruits playing. And Pregnon was a transfer that he recruited. So 3/5 of this line is going to be solely his. It's up to the players, of course, but if you're going to be a development guy in lieu of shelling out money for highly talented people, you need to develop them. And I don't, frankly, the change from year one of Riley to year two coincidentally, or same, it's the same as year one for Henson and stuff. When it wasn't 60-year seniors and it was actually guys that were like younger, they had to play. I didn't really like what I saw. I don't even know how to use that voice. They're bad. Offensive line sucked last year, and this is going to be the second straight year where I think it was either 4 out of 5 or all five. Oh, it's not gonna be all five because Pregnon's gonna stay at left guard, right? Or is he going to right? Excuse me, I don't know.
Yeah, left.
Left. Okay, so 4 out of the 5 starters are going to be brand new. I don't. I don't know. I just it's so much movement. Like we have to believe that Henson's an elite development coach. Like we're kind of coping and saying he is, or else this season could be a legit disaster.
Yeah, I mean the key is development, and I agree. Honestly, Henson's kind of on his last straw. He's like the only coach not recruiting well. But you know how you make up for that? You want to blame anyone else, sure. But if Page is great, if Noah's great, if Makai Sena plays good down the road, if Ben Willis plays good down the road, then hey, you could develop these guys into good starters. Okay, I'm good with that. But if they're not good, then we're in trouble. If Pregnon's not good again this year, you're in trouble because you know what else wasn't good. Haskins wasn't great. Blanking out, Kingston wasn't great. None of these guys are great.
Yeah.
Every one of your transfers has been bad. So I have to question your talent right now. But yeah, like I said, it's all on development. Hope Monheim can be a center because last year didn't work out for Didic moving over to center. Love the guy, but he was snaps were horrendous. I think another important thing is they're not they're not protecting a guy who can sprint to the right 10 yards with 300 pounders chasing him and throw across his body and hit someone perfectly in stride. They are protecting someone who is more of a pocket quarterback. And Miller can move a little bit. He's not Peyton Manning when he's 40, but like, I mean, he can move a little bit. He's not that stationary, but he's not Caleb Williams. You have to remember that. So if his blind side can't protect him, we're going to be in trouble. But I mean,
Yeah, it's
hey, to me, I can't help but sing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is going to be a very real test for not only Henson but Lincoln Riley in his scheme. Like he has to acknowledge, or he has to understand the shortcomings of the offense. Again, there's a lot of talent here. Even there's a lot of talent on the offensive line, like
Yeah,
physical.
absolutely.
So that's what it's just raw. So if Riley understands that, and the timing plays are more prevalent, and like it's all about rhythm and consistency, and it's not saying if this doesn't work out, my quarterback can and will make a play. Then I think there's a lot of potential. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if they can be, coherent and, just everyone do their job, like it doesn't have, it's not going to be one of the best in the country, but if they can be solid, like how we held up against Notre Dame, if we can give Moss just enough time to hit the superstar or potential superstars in stride, if, we can have a scheme where we can get downhill and give Woody some space to move, it is possible. We've come out really negative, and we have a right to be negative. The line was bad last year, and they didn't add anyone, so we have a right to be negative. But there's a sliver of potential.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to say more. This is literally just a wait and see. The spring game couldn't tell us anything because the USC defensive line is already bad, and they didn't have Bear. So it's like, what are we gonna know? If you want to go based on that, they had massive holes. But I mean, we're gonna talk about in the next video defensive line in a similar position, and we're going into a conference that actually values the trenches, or even if not, even if they value it the same as the Pac-12, because I don't think the Pac-12 is ignoring offensive linemen. They're just able to get more of them, so it's more difficult to block and get blocked, or and shed blocks. So yeah, we're gonna see. I'm sure we're gonna hear reports about how good everyone looks in summer camp, and then fall camp's gonna come sooner than we expect, and the nerves are gonna start hitting. But for now, it's all about hope, and in this case, a little bit of dread as well. Either way, we'll be back soon. Go Trojans.